Okay, I'm at Miller Park in the city of Gilroy, and I just want to discuss with you briefly, a very short video, 2 minutes or so, what it means to be in rebellion against God. So God set apart the Royal African Falcon top martial artist order. For those of you who are confused, it's overkill in the part in the Bible where Christ says, I think it's Matthew 11:11 or something, where he says, the kingdom of heaven will be taken away from you and given to a people who will perform its works. So you say, okay, who really pronounce themselves, right? Because you got to be a lamp on a stand or try with your best. What types of people pronounce themselves the most, right? Well, here in America, you would think Martin Luther King. So Martin Luther King or better is what we're looking for, right? Somebody who really puts their life on the line, carries the cross, accepts being persecuted for what's right, has the mighty warrior spirit of God, stands firm. And so how do we surpass Martin Luther King? We get a martial arts. What kind? Eastern martial arts? No. American martial arts? No. Okay, you get a Royal African Falcon martial arts, right? You got Mandela and, Shaka Zulu and so on. We look for intensity and being a great warrior. So who's going to proclaim God's warrior works better than David striking down Goliath, better than Samson, right? Who could beat them, right? And that goes back to, the Royal African Falcon martial art order, because it has to do with characteristics and principles, right? Even the word principle, you get the word prince, right? So what are the principles of good? It has to do with a moral monarchy in reality, right? Natural monarchy, not science and technology, not fumes and not sabotage, but what is actually naturally moral and truly moral. So when one rebels against the Royal African Falcon martial art order, which is an order of focused moral intensity, an order of universal pinpoint and moral precision, and certain types of people really have those characteristics more than others, and they rebel against God. Now listen carefully. I don't want people to ever get this part twisted or any other part, but certainly this part, okay? After I'm gone, regardless of race, nobody will be qualified to lead, okay? This is the end of the Bible. So not only am I not a racial supremacist, I'm not setting the stage for black people to lead or something after I'm gone. That's not what I'm doing. Okay? In Proverbs it says, fear the Lord and the king, and do not join with rebellious officials. Why it ends has everything to do with judgment, how people raise their daughters and how their daughters thought. They raised their daughters to shun the most righteous guy ever for mere cultural norms, for mere habits and addictions, right? It's even called addiction, right? Alpha, dick, shun. And it's also diction, right? Your way of speaking, your languages. The prostitute sits by many waters. The waters are described as peoples, nations, multitudes, and languages. So communication. They made it harder for women to understand that it's insane to shun me. And they did it at every turn. And they created confusion with a bunch of cultures that are profane. And when all was said and done, they shunned the most righteous person ever possible, using a scale of focused moral intensity, which is the only way to determine who's more righteous and who had more intense righteous acts than who existed in a state of intensity. We see in the Bible where it says, Jesus said he's going to come back as a character in the story, right? It's saying that Christ is going to come back like a thief in the night. What's it referring to? It's referring to combat. Right? When you plunder your enemies, right? It's a warrior situation, right? There's 7 bowls, 7 trumpets, right? So he's going to come back in an intense warrior spirit, and he's going to take away your souls. He's going to take away anything that you have of spiritual worth. And then your souls are going to rot and you're going to go to hell. We see later in Revelation that it says that fine linen stands for the righteous acts of the saints in Revelation 19. So we can ascertain that it says Christ is going to come back like a thief in the night. In Revelation it says, woe to those who are shamefully exposed, something to this effect, right? They didn't have on the fine linen that stands for the righteous acts of the saints. And we know from the parable of the wedding banquet that you're supposed to be dressed for the wedding, and it refers to wearing the fine linen that stands for the righteous acts of the saints. Now, how do these acts, how are they done? Well, they're done in the divine order, right? The army of God, the formation of God, the formula, the form, and the formation. So when people cheat me out of my right to lead, everything they do is just scattering. Whoever doesn't gather with me, and I've returned in the flesh, scatters. So they have no righteous acts. They're all shamefully exposed because they're rebelling against God by rebelling against me because God set me apart as his representative. Exodus 15:3, the Lord is the warrior, the Lord is his name. Isaiah 42:13, okay, the Lord is going to march out like a warrior, a champion. Psalm 19, the champion, the bridegroom. God set me apart as having the characteristics in a way that's irrefutable. The opposition view hides tail tucked from my challenges to debate. Everyone knows that my $10 million legal and peaceful top martial arts challenge, outdoor sparring, speaks for itself. Spar it and spirit. Spar and par. Who can proclaim his mighty acts? Who's up to par? Well, spar mind, body, soul, and spirit. No need for senseless bloodshed. So it goes without saying that I am the Son of God, I am back, and fools are in rebellion. And before they would mock and act like a jester, ask yourselves, what could an average person say to the top martial artist ever possible? Can you imagine some nerd or something, some Freemason, insulting me? I'm the son of 2 doctors, 1 a brain surgeon. And I'm the top martial artist ever possible as proved by logic, wisdom, deductive reasoning, and critical thinking, and common sense. Who is anyone to insult me? What could they say? You know how stupid they'd look? That's part of why they don't accept my debate, because they know I am superior, because God Almighty has triumphed me over everyone else. And they are the inhabitants of the world that Isaiah spoke about, that is spoken about in Revelation, who are struck down by my mighty scepter, who are struck down by the sword of God's Spirit, which I wield in my heart, mind, body, and soul. Thank you.